5-year-old put that together for us.
Oh,
Don't you love kids?
oh my goodness.
So welcome to the Meditation Museum once again. It's always so nice to have our friends here, whether you're new or old. It's a treat to have everyone with us. How many of you have come for the very first time today? Hands up. Yay, you made it. Good. Great. Welcome to our wonderful, beautiful space of transformation. Did you feel the vibrations of Georgia Avenue change the minute you stepped in? And you were like, how do they do that? You notice? Can I share with you the story? We used to be in a little old house down here on Georgia Avenue, 9913 Georgia Avenue. And when the trucks and the buses would go by, the whole house would shake. This is like 20 years ago. And of course, you've been to the old house, right? Didn't you come to the old house? Tell the truth, the moment you stepped in, you forgot you were on a busy highway and the trucks were shaking the house. And what that basically does for you is to remind you that your vibrations can clear out the atmosphere. Your thoughts can clear out the feelings and the energy in a room or in a space. So can you imagine that if you continue to have healthy, positive, well-wishing, pure thoughts inside of your mind on a regular basis, the kind of atmosphere that your presence will bring in a room? Wouldn't that be sweet? That as you walk into a room, people just feel better rather than, oh no, it's her again. You know? There's something very powerful about the vibrations of thoughts and how our thoughts attract certain people in our lives, certain events in our lives, certain situations in our lives actually manifest because of the accumulation of the thoughts that I've been having over a very long period of time. Sometimes we might say, hallelujah, praise the Lord, I'm so happy about that. And then sometimes we're like, oh no, what have I done to myself, you know? I shouldn't have had this particular thought about myself or about anyone. And so we are on a journey of learning how to smoothen out this process called life. There's no doubt that most of our parents taught us something good to do. Our parents told us not to cuss, not to be angry, not to speak foul languages. And how many of you still use a cuss word ever so often? Hands up. Naughty. I liked her, she put hers up because her dad's next to her. She's like, whatever, like once or twice, right? So what's happening is that they say sometimes, I don't know if this is true, psychologists say sometimes it's healthy to do that. On a spiritual level, I find it to be quite offensive if somebody speaks to me in a way that I felt wasn't like a deity or an angel. And I didn't remember meeting an angel who was cussing at me lately. And so I sort of gauge the way that I treat another person based on how an angel or a deity would behave. And I'd like you to sit with that for a little bit. Think about it for a little bit. What if you gauged your life from this moment onwards in the form in which would an angel, would a deity, and if you're from Greece, would one of the gods, well, I shouldn't use them as an example, but would an angel or a deity behave this way with this person? Is it a good enough gauge? Because I think we all have an idea of what the behavior of an angel is like, right? And we have an idea of, if you're from Indian cultures or other ancient cultures, you have an idea of what a deity behaves like. So if I find that my behavior doesn't model that example, then I might need a little bit more attention on myself. But more than anything else, if I find that my thoughts don't model the thinking of an angel or a deity, now that's called spiritual work. My thoughts, if they don't model the thoughts of an angel or a deity, now I'm doing spiritual work. So when you're here at the Meditation Museum, you're actually saying loudly in action that I feel there's room for me to make some improvement. And then when you keep coming back and when you go as far as studying the Raj Yoga meditation course, then you're saying, I want to be more spiritual. And when you say you wish to be more spiritual, it's not to leave your religion or lack thereof religion, but it's saying to yourself that I need more attention on my thinking, because my thinking, I've seen, it's creating my reality. Now, how many of you enjoy being in the company of very negative people? Is it like a party for you? Do you love it when your boss is just always negative and on your case? Do you like it when your husband comes home miserably? Do you like it when your partner comes home miserably? Do you like when your child comes in, throws down her knapsack and just yells, I hate school? How many of you like miserable, really negative people? Don't you find them exciting? Come on, tell the truth. You find those negative folks really exciting to be with, don't you? Come on, be honest. They're thrilling, aren't they? Aren't they comforting to be around? Like, gosh, I just loved them. No? You find it quite draining, don't you? It was very draining. Now, have you ever thought of yourself as a negative person? Depends on the day. Has anyone ever kind of treated you in a bad way? Has anyone treated you in a bad way and given you sorrow? Hands up. Why would somebody give sorrow to a nice person? Something's wrong with them, right? Right? Because you think about it, like, I'm such a nice person. Why in the world would you treat me like this? Or am I vibrating something? Food for thought. So in this meditation time together for positive thinking, they'll get you a chair shortly. In this meditation time together on positive thinking, I want us to settle into ourselves. Feel free to record the lecture. It is being Facebook Live, so you'll get a chance to play it back to hear some of the nuggets. But if you have your smartphone, can you take it out maybe now? If you have your social media, share it with your friends where you are. Let them know you're at the Meditation Museum and just let them know it's going on live about positive thinking and see if they might like this today. Okay? I'll give you a minute, and then after that, I'm going to request for you to make sure that your phone is on silence so we cannot be disturbed. So I just got back from Miami yesterday, and I got a wonderful gift from Brito, a joy sculpture. And I thought it was so appropriate to have it available. And this is thanks to our Brahma Kumari branch in Hollywood, Florida. I know you guys are watching, so see, your Brito gift of joy is working already on positive thinking class today. I so enjoyed being in Florida today. It was just lovely. I mean, yeah, yesterday and the week before. It's good to be able to be in a new environment to stimulate new thoughts. Unfortunately, some of us come back from vacation mode even more stressed out than when we went. Because you have to organize so many things, who goes where, who goes what, this. So I'm hoping that at some point you begin to master the art of vacationing. It means to go and be constructive. It means to just enjoy. It means to share. It means to let somebody else organize the trip. Got it? All right, so welcome to Positive Thinking 101. And hopefully I'm going to do this right. So I want to talk about a few steps to positive thinking and living a life that's positive. Because, like the kind of food that you eat, you actually become. the food that you eat. Believe it or not, you actually become the food that you eat. If you eat healthy, nourishing, alive food, you generally tend to have a more alive energy. If you eat food that's dead, you tend to feel a little bit more lethargic. You tend to struggle to find energy because the food that you're putting in your system isn't alive, but you want it to give you life. And so I really invite you to consider going one day raw, vegetables, juicing, lots of water, fresh fruits. Oh, I sat on the mango trees in Miami. I must have had like 20 mangoes. I'm surprised I'm not orange. Am I orange yet? I look a little orange, right? I should, because I ate so many mangoes in Florida. And so it's important for you to recognize that when you feed your mind with positive ideas, you eventually become a positive personality. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate yourself as a positive person? Which means whenever you're in front of adverse situations or negative personalities, or when something isn't working out the way that you want it to work out, you're okay. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how okay are you in a positive way, with 10 being the highest? Don't tell me. Keep your number in your awareness and see how you feel rating your own self. Did you rate yourself on number 2, number 3, number 8? Because you find that your positive attitude varies on different days based on what you're going through spiritually and emotionally and physically. That some days you can handle the Himalayas falling apart and keep smiling. And then some days everything is perfect and just one little thing happens and you're like, your whole day's ruined. So it's important that you understand the process of positive thinking is a soul process. It is an energy of consciousness that's going on behind your eyes. It is you, the being, that governs the human. It is your life force. It is your light. It is the metaphysic. It is the spirit that's doing this work. It isn't your body. Your body doesn't need to listen to anything positive. It is the soul that needs to hear something positive. It is the soul that needs to share something positive. And over a period of time, you will find that you're naturally feeling like, I'm a good person and good has to find me. I'm a good person and good has to find me. And you can't just say that out of the whim and just like, I'm a good person, this shouldn't be happening to me. Things happen to me for a reason, but it doesn't mean that I can't change it. So when I am working on myself and I am practicing more healthy qualities of thoughts, then I'm feeling naturally in trust that good will find me because I've been thinking good. So I want you to remember, the more positive thoughts you nurture on a daily basis, it eventually will become your personality. I know you have met somebody in your life and you've seen them just once. All they had to say was hello. And you go, I am not trusting that person. And I know some of us in certain cultures, mostly in African culture, in Indian cultures, we tend to do something called scanning. Does anybody know what scanning is? It happens behind the hello. Hello. It's, I don't know what it is. It's like you pick up everyone's thought vibrations. And grandmothers and mothers are so good at that. I've just seen it. In Indian culture, there's something where we do arranged marriages. Now, not as much now as it used to be in the earlier days. But when the boy or the girl had to go to meet the family that they were going to get the children married to, you have no idea how much that mother is scanning that future spouse or son-in-law or daughter-in-law. And they're looking at your body language, they're looking at how you sit, they check how your eyes are, while they're talking and giving you chai at the same time. And they're looking at everything about you. And they know just through your body language the kinds of thoughts that you have in your life. And then they determine, based on identifying what your weakness or limitation is, can my child live with that weakness for the rest of their lives? And then they determine, do they get married to this guy? Of course, money and education plays a part too. But they do look at these factors. Is this a weakness that you would like to live with in this partner? Don't you find that fascinating? That they can see that? I know. I know. I can see you thinking, oh my God, okay, so my future marriage, I'll have to check on that one, right? So it's important for you to feed your mind with positive thoughts, positive ideas, a positive vision of yourself. Essential that you continue to engage in a narrative about yourself that you speak well about yourself. Despite if everyone else criticizes you, despite if everyone thinks you're the worst thing on the planet, despite if you've heard your parents speak about things that weren't very uplifting or inviting, it is essential that you begin to engage in a conversation with yourself first thing in the morning, what you believe about you, or what you would like to believe about you, even if you sense that you've made a lot of mistakes. Because some of us have done things against our better self, right? And so we get so attached to that recording that we actually miss a lot of good opportunities of a better version of ourselves. You know, we're just trapped in the negative. So it's important that you keep reminding yourself, I am good, I have what it takes. I might not know all the tools, I might not have all the tools, but I have soul, so I have will. And once I have will, I have what it takes. But you have to continue to remind yourself to think like that. Because some people can be giving you positive reconfirmation every day and you're like, nah, you just say that. But you don't believe it. So the soul has to start to feel its own rhythm. You know there's good in me because when I look at good in a movie, I feel like I can aspire to that. When I hear somebody telling me something good, I feel like I want to be a part of that. When I witness somebody who's living a good life, I believe I should be living that too. So something in the spirit knows that it has the power to do it. However, if you're thinking opposite to that, then you're reducing the power to actually manifest it. Make sense? Make sense? So one of the things that I do when I wake up first thing in the morning, whether it's at 3 o'clock or 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and that's a time we usually get up in the mornings to meditate, is that I really know that I'm a soul. And I want you to consider that for yourselves, that even as you're looking at me through your eyes, I'm not looking at your eyes, but I'm communicating with your soul. I want to talk to your soul. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care how you dress, what you're into, what your religion is, or it's just, I want to dig deep in myself and find my purity and my goodness. And I wish to come to you from that place. One of the most fascinating things I've learned about our service puppy, Happy, is that everybody smiles and is so happy when they see Happy. They don't even know I'm there and I'm the spiritual head. They're like, who cares about you? The dog is so cute. And everybody surrenders to the innocence of this animal because the animal lives from a place of purity and innocence. Now, when you meet a mean pit bull or a mean dog, you're like, you don't go near it, right? I don't know, maybe they train the dog to be like that, but Happy's a meditation puppy, so she's just all playful and loving. That's it. And so you feel that because that's in the spirit, even of the animal, because of her environment. Does that make sense? So think about you in terms of your interior environment. How do you meet people? I am a soul with divine power. Om Shanti. Good afternoon. Good morning, honey. How was your rest? Would you like some tea? Would you like coffee? Now here's the other way of looking at your spouse or at your colleague at work or at your friend. Oh, my boss yelled at me last week. I can't stand her. Oh, my husband came in late. I don't know where he was. Oh, my child failed her exam after all that money we spent for college. And then all of those thoughts attract more waste thoughts because all you're seeing is the human component of the soul's makeup, but not the divine component of the soul. So when you're practicing positive thinking, you can actually bypass many times, I'm not saying all the time, but you can bypass many times the limited aspects of someone's personality, especially someone that's close to you. It's the people who you live with that challenges you the most, because you're never off guard with them. They're 24/7 with you. So you feel more annoyed with those people because you feel like you have nowhere to go, right? And there are times that you actually want to change your behavior with those same people that you live with, but something in you feels a little bit broken because your conscience knows, well, I wasn't an angel all week. But to be positive, and I was telling that to Sister Gita today, and she was so shocked by this comment I'm about to make. I said, even a positive person will accept, I wasn't so good last week, but I know I'm going to be better this week. But a negative person won't even accept that they weren't so good last week. Will be like, I didn't do anything wrong. You get it? Isn't that weird? Because you'd think to be positive is not to, face a lot of your negative things that you do. But to actually be negative is to ignore your limitations and to keep continuing with those limitations and have others endure the limit without being accountable. So even to be positive, it can also be a sign in which you accept your shortcomings and you go, I know I did that. When I do that to myself, I feel so positive. When I go, Jen, I think you could have handled that better. You could have done that better, you know that, right? So I wasn't positive when I reacted, but I was positive when I recognized that I reacted. Do you understand the importance of that? So you can develop a positive attitude as well when you also identify when you're being a little bit limited in your behavior. Okay? So reminding yourself that you're a soul filled with divine power is essential. Now, very few of us have the practice of visualizing what we are like if we're completely positive. When's the last time you really sat in solitude and visualized your life a completely positive person? I know, right? So why don't we try tonight and just start today? I want you to take a breath and relax with me. And I want you to start to create a clear, and it can be really exciting if you want it, but I want your goal to be an interior goal and an external goal. Let me try to expand on what I mean by an interior goal. My inner goal is to be a person with great wisdom. I remain unshakable, and I'm constantly loving. That's my interior goal. My exterior goal is to see the meditation museums thrive, to see the staff and the volunteers to become more powerful than I am, and to see the community in which I'm in service to grow and to be spiritually a contribution to the planet. That's my exterior goal. So I do a lot of things to get us there. All right? So I visualize that every day. That's why I show up every day. So for you now, I'd like you to take just a few minutes, close your eyes, take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, and breathe in and out for about maybe 5 or 10 times until you really feel solid, like deep breaths in and out. Breathe in deep again. and out. Breathe in and out until you feel like you really are settled and a little calmer. But what's your inner goal? Let's say for the rest of the week, today's Thursday, we have Thursday night, Friday, let's say till Sunday. For the next 4 days, what inner goal would you like to maintain? Visualize yourself in that way. If you're fulfilling your inner goal, what would your eyes look like? What kinds of words would you speak? How would you dress? How would you interact with others? How would you eat? What would you do with your enemies? Now transform your inner goal to an external goal. Is there anything that you really physically want right now? And maybe in the next 4 days, you can try to achieve. It doesn't have to be too big. You have Thursday night, Friday all day, Saturday and Sunday to fulfill one thing that you want. And maybe it's just a phone call away. Believe it or not. Take a deep breath, exhale, and from your mind, wish the person next to you to fulfill their inner and outer goal. Just from your mind, say, I wish for you to get your inner goal fulfilled and your outer goal fulfilled. I wish your dreams to come true. It always makes me feel so good to wish others well, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, thank you for doing that simple exercise. It is so essential for us to keep in good company. To keep in the company of people that are doing good, are living good, have a purposeful life. Because we influence each other. Hopefully, I'm influencing you by the thoughts that I'm sharing with you. Hopefully, my occasional smile will influence you as I'm sharing with you. Or hopefully, my presence will influence you, and all in a good way. So, you are influencing me because each and every one of you are so in tune to today's discussion. And that makes me feel extra better because I can see in your eyes your interest. So it is important to stay around positive people. How many of you actually have a high number of positive people in your lives? Good, good. Expand your circle. Expand your positiveness of people. Because by expanding the positivity around you in your relationships, you are going to really value being alive more. Folks who are doing things right are crucial to learn from. And it's not even just in business, it's the way somebody washes dishes. It starts that simply. If a person washes, for me, dishes out of anger or frustration, they're not doing that right if I'm concerned. But if they wash the dish out of love and in peace, I go, I can learn from that person because they're being mindful. If somebody walks in a room all hustling, bustling, whatever I can find, I'm like, okay, and I'm not judging it, but you want to find energy that can support you when you're off guard with your energy. That's why positive people are so important for you. Because we're not always going to be on guard and always optimistic and always ready to go. And so you want people that are going to be like, I got your back, don't worry. I see you're having an off day, right? And that's why having very positive people around you is essential. Now, I'm not asking you to throw away the people that are in your life today, right? Because it's not going to be possible. You might be married to them, or you might be working with them, or they might be your child, right? Or they might even be your best friend. But you have developed such an uncanny ability to love them anyway that it doesn't matter the way that they are. But subtly still the vibrations are there, and you're still wishing, I wish they would be a little bit more happier. I wish they would be a little bit more positive. So my recommendation for you is to, the people that are maybe not always very positive or not always doing things right, you can't get rid of them very easily. But what I would like for you to do is to pay attention to the folks who are inspirations for you. One. Secondly, what I do, I always recognize that there's one thing about that person that God has put in there. That I know that there is a beautiful spark in that person. And even though I know that there's a challenge in their personality right now, I still can see there's an element of God in there. Did you remember the genocide in Rwanda in the 80s? I think it was in the early 90s, I'm sorry. And, oh gosh, what was his name? The hotel owner of...
Yeah.
Do you remember his name? Okay, so I was at the Lantos Human Rights Foundation on Capitol Hill a few years ago, and they awarded him an award because he was instrumental at Hotel Rwanda to save all the many lives during the genocide. And one thing that he said was, to be very honest, I think the way we survived that was that he's learned in scripture and he learned by God that everyone, no matter how evil they've become, there's always an element of good left in them. And he said, I spoke to them knowing that there was some still spark of good left somewhere. And I didn't care about how many lives they had killed and mauled. And it's because of him speaking into the goodness of these terrorists, the Hutsus and the Tutsis, remember, in Rwanda? He spoke to the good in them. Their lives were saved, and the UN peacekeepers were able to save thousands of lives because of this man's courage to bypass the horrible things these men did to children, to women, to their communities. And he says, I know you still have good. I want you to try that with your enemies. Starting tonight. I want you to think about that one good spark that you know is still sitting in there, that you might have missed because you were focusing on their negative sides. Okay? Healthy food for thought. I recommend that you read some of the most positive books out there. There's so many out there now in the market. You can get a dime a dozen. Something will call your spirit to read. Listen to positive audio, positive meditations, positive music. A friend of mine, Mark Brenton, I hope you're watching today, Mark, Congratulations on the good work at the Starkey Foundation, by the way. Mark is launching a new radio station called Organic Radio. And his radio station is specifically designed to raise 5% of happiness in the world by only having music that is positively motivating. Isn't that lovely? Mark Brenton. So listen to positive audio. Download some of our music on our app. Go to our Meditation Museum YouTube or America Meditating Radio. You can always hear something very good and very uplifting there. It's not that you're going to listen to it 24/7, but listen to it when your mind is free so that you can feed your mind the right kinds of food. Sometimes when you're sitting with family or friends, you tend to start gossiping about people. And when you gossip, the atmosphere becomes very shallow. It feels like there's an omen or a ghost in the room or something weighty or something that has no value. But then you get so caught up in the gossip, you forget of the consequences, you know? And so I really want to stress to you, really put aside this ancient habit of gossiping about your friends and relatives. It is so old, it is so dirty, it is so wasteful. And the more you gossip about somebody else, you're actually creating the energy of people to gossip about you karmically. It's karma, right? So that is something that even within here, we don't generate that. And one of the things that we do is to keep ourselves so busy that we don't have time to gossip about anyone. If you can sit there and talk about somebody negatively for half an hour, do you know how much you could have done in half an hour with your life while that person's moving on with their life doing their business? Do you understand? So please try to refrain from conversations that you think don't match your external goals or your internal goals. What's the use of me having this conversation with you? It's not getting me anywhere. Meditate, my favorite thing to share with you, and we'll do that later on in the evening. And serving your community. It is so important for you to give back to your community. Give back to people who have given you the best of themselves. Because if you look at your life, you sometimes give so much of yourselves to people that have such a negative attitude. And you don't feel like you're getting anything in return. So what about the good people that are doing good in the world? Don't they deserve some of your goodness too? So I really thoroughly invite you to do good. Serve your church, your synagogue, serve the meditation museum, give back to your community, get involved in doing things that are charitable, because you will take care of yourself. You will feel served when you've given selflessly to others. Many of you might not be aware of this, but the over 2,000 events that we sponsor are free of charge. And I can tell you it's a handful of people who continue to help us to keep these doors open. But it's my wish to see everybody fulfilled in their good karma for the future. So when everyone serves and everyone gives, then everyone becomes a master. And so the burden isn't on just one person alone. Don't waste your thoughts, because if you waste your thoughts, you will waste If you waste your thoughts, you will waste your life. Waste thoughts create a life that's been wasted. Because I haven't done anything with my thoughts. And if I have done anything and it was waste or negative, then that's not how I want to live, is it? Right? So wasting your thoughts will waste your life. Wasting your time with folks who have no purpose is a waste. That's why as parents, we're always very careful about who our kids spend time with. How many times did your parents, I remember my mother used to tell me, please don't go over that girl's house again anymore. because she knew she was bad news, and she really was bad news, but she was so much fun, and I was so boring. But she did get into a lot of trouble, and she did expose me to a lot of things that I wouldn't have been exposed with on my own. Do I regret it? Om Shanti, what can I do? Done deal. Now I know what Mom was talking about. Do you understand? So there is something about this vibration of being around individuals who have no purpose. So wasting your time with being indecisive, how many of you find it very difficult to make decisions? I know. There's like, you feel unclear, right? And you're constantly pulled back and forth. You get this push and pull feeling. And it's such a drainage of energy. What I'd like you to do when you find yourself in an indecisive mode, write down on a piece of paper if this is a strength or a weakness, what I have to do. Does this support my strength as a person? Or does this support my weakness as a person? And then decide. So whatever you have, something that's on your plate that you have to do, just on a piece of paper you go, what's going to make me stronger? Or does this support my weaknesses? Then you write down, if I do this, if I do say yes to this, what are the benefits? What are the losses? And just by doing that alone, you can weigh out, okay, I know what to do. It's that simple. And it has saved my life countless times. So then I don't have a lot of waste regrets about, well, I wish I'd done it this way. No, I already worked it out. This was going to be beneficial. You know? But there are some decisions that even when you do that and you weigh it out, the negatives are high, but you're like, I think I can risk this though. And then you begin to learn some really valuable lessons after that. Have faith and keep taking one step at a time is our biggest logo here. You will learn by your experiences. And the more experiences you gain, the more faith you have in what you're supposed to do. If you have a lot of negative experiences, you're going to have the faith that every time I do this, it's going to turn out bad. And if you've learned how to overcome your negative experiences or what you might call failures, then you will say, no, I can't do it this way anymore. It's not working. So you are developing faith in yourself, whether you know it or not. You might feel that you don't have confidence in a specific area, and it's only because you haven't practiced it enough. The more you practice it, and especially with heart, with gut, faith will come. Faith will come. Faith will come. It's just that we sometimes think of ourselves in a specific role or in a specific place, and we haven't practiced ourselves to get there yet. So then there's a little bit of self-doubt. Rest, meditate, and serve. A rested mind, an arrested soul will make better decisions. Someone who doesn't sleep well, doesn't get a lot of Z's at night, is constantly being driven, is constantly on the clock, constantly on the deadline. It's hard to trust their decisions unless whatever they're doing is of a very specific nature, which they've done over and over and over again. It's different, but it is so essential for the soul to rest in the body comfortably. Meditation is essential because when you meditate, you come from a place of thought where no one has access to. When you meditate, you come from a place of thought that no one has access to. It's your deepest place of thinking. And I'd like to take you into a meditation where you go in meditation to gain an experience. Okay? All right. So, you have thoughts that you can consciously choose. Those are fine. You also have thoughts that are compulsive, like you can't stop them. They just come. And then you have thoughts that are just natural. Wake up, eat, sleep, go to work, play, fight, don't fight, cooperate, don't cooperate. Ordinary thoughts, right? But there's a thought that happens in between all of these three thoughts. It's when you're in a very quiet place. It's when you're in the elevator. It's when you're in the car. It definitely comes up when you're in the bathroom because you're most relaxed. It's when you're laying down in your bed at night, undisturbed. It's when you're cooking. Do you know those thoughts where nobody has access? Like nobody knows what you're really thinking or feeling? You remember that place you go to a lot? You call it your quiet place, the place where nobody really knows what's going on. That's where you invite the energy of God in to have a conversation with you, to restore your spirit, to fill your spirit, to hear your spirit, to feel your deepest yearnings and needs. And when you experience the presence of God's energy, you've meditated. Every relationship that you have entered in, you have wanted them to be able to access that space in you so you can feel full. And it has not happened yet, has it? You've had your children and their beautiful experiences, but they can't fulfill that deepest place in you. You have your partners, your lovers, your spouses, and you wish they could get that deep to make you feel better. They can't. But it's only in meditation, and because we teach Raj Yoga meditation here, you learn a meditation that's very relationship-based. So because you're learning a relationship-based meditation, the deep dialogue that you have in private, that you let nobody know of, I guarantee you, you pay attention to that place tonight, you're going to recognize a relationship that you need or a relationship that you want more of. Which when you're in meditation with the divine, having a relationship soul to soul, you can feel like it's getting fulfilled. I don't know how it's happening, but I'm being nurtured. I'm being taken care of here. Okay, ready? So go into that place. It's that deep, quiet place. It's you. It's where nobody knows what's actually going on in your deepest, most inner thinking. It's that place that just knows everything about you. It knows everything that you're going through. And you almost feel sometimes that you're alone in this. And you don't want to be. You can have a crowd of people around you. But you still feel like nobody understands what you need or what you've had to endure or what you're going through. Allow your consciousness to fall or rise as deep as it can in that place. Your deepest, innermost being. Your quiet place. Your pure place. Your inner world. If there happens to be anything currently that's sort of disturbed your spirit, just take this time to look at it like what's gnawing at you, what's calling you, what's asking something from you. What do you want? What do you need to feel satisfied or to feel happy. It doesn't matter how many faces or possessions emerge at this time. Let's go back to the feeling. What do you need as an experience? And what is the relationship that follows the experience? Is it a companion? A mother? A father? A beloved? A teacher? A guide? A child? And in this place, experience the waves of God's qualities, fulfilling that part in you that needs a response, needs an experience. Allow the vibrations of God's love and purity to flow through that relationship that's missing. To make you feel whole again and complete. Allow the love of this experience to release anything that you're still holding on to. Doesn't make you feel so good. But let this experience of God's love nurture you and get you reconnected to your fullness. Take a deep breath and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And with your eyes closed, I'd like you to practice smiling from inside. Just put this enormous big smile on your face of just feeling so reconnected to you and your source, that private place that no one has access to. I've just allowed God to access it with me. I'm not alone anymore. Beautiful. Welcome back to the room. Wasn't that easy to do and lovely? So again, we now learned a very simple tool of meditation on the core self, which is very useful to do, especially early in the morning. No more expectations. I don't know how many of you know I used to race cars when I was a teenager and in my 20s, because my dad used to race Fiats. And so from I was like 10, 11, I'd be in the race car with him. And I love racing. It's such a hobby for me. I love it. I don't know if the highway police officers like it, but I love it. So one of the mechanics once taught me, I remember him very well. I was 16 with my first charged up nitroglycerin car. It was a Capri that I used to race. And he says, Jenna, as you grow up, always expect the unexpected. I don't know why that made so much sense, because I believe nothing that guy told me, except that one thing. Always expect the unexpected, but don't have expectations. It was like such a big release. Like, don't expect this person to be nice to you, but expect the unexpected, that one day they might actually be nice. You get it? So expect the unexpected. every day try to aim to really feel your interior peace. It's really not boring. It is empowering. And when you look at a really still lake, it's very powerful. When you look at a mountain that's still, it's very powerful. When you look at a human being whose peace cannot be shaken, they're very powerful. So aim to be peaceful inside. Keep inviting the divine love, the supreme being. We did that exercise and meditation inside of your life, in your heart, in your being. And keep coming to the meditation museums so we can keep meeting each other and learning more with each other, which I think could really love you. Thank you so much for joining this very simple time together, a simple meditation and practice of positive thinking. Stay in touch. Feel free to keep shifting your life a little bit around, because now the times are going to demand a lot from us. And the new norm of our age is to refuel your life. That's the new norm. The new norm is not to empty yourself. It's to refuel yourself so that you can be your best and meet the challenges that we have facing us in today's world. The opportunities are grand, and you just simply have to show up. So I want to thank you for this time to be with you. And right now, if you have any questions that you'd like to raise with me, I would be happy to do my best to respond. And if you'd rather not, and if you'd like to still stay in this meditative zone, I'd be happy to exit the stage, play a beautiful meditation video for you, invite you to get some of our meditation CDs and literature, invite you to walk around the museum and enjoy the exhibits, invite you to go into the quiet room and just sit for a moment of deeper stillness, or enjoy our wonderful freshly baked muffins that are in the cafe. So, thank you. So I guess if we have no questions, I think all questions were answered almost, yes?
The inner
Goal.
goals and the outer goals. So is there it's a manifestation, the outer is a manifestation of the inner one? If I want to be more
Beautiful question.
something empathy.
Beautiful.
And then the outside of it, I'm going to listen more to people.
It would match, yes. I think there are two dimensions to your question, which is a great question, by the way. Your interior goal has a lot to do with your personality, your spiritual way of being, your what do you call it, mojo? Or that beautiful part about you, your charisma. You know, it's about the beauty of your spirit. And it can't be hidden even if you're washing the dishes or cleaning the floor as a goal. So in other words, you will not ever hide your inner goals when you manifest things physically for your life. So if it's that you want to do better in relationships, that will show itself. Your empathy will show itself when somebody is unkind in front of you. If it's opening up a company or a business, you will bring not the fear or insecurity of wondering if you can do it, but you'll bring the bliss and the joy that you're feeling that you're having in you into the opening of the business. So whether it physically fails or not, you're going to be okay because you are happy during the process. I mean, Portia and so many of my friends who have been with me on the journey here, it doesn't matter if the door's locked. I mean, earlier September, we were like in a very interesting economical situation. I'm like, it's okay if we lock the doors. You know, what I'm teaching only needs 3 square feet of land. We don't need a big place, right? And so it was not a bother. In other words, I was okay. But however, because of that attitude, things started to kick back in again. Do you understand? And so if you have this fear or insecurity when you enter into something new, then that's the vibration that goes into that. So your interior goal does impact your exterior goal, depending on how you sustain it, or how it stays, or how it goes. You know, but then I want you, everyone, to know your inner goals cannot be hidden. in anything that you do, the world will see it because it's a vibration of your spirit. So yes, on both levels, you know. I can say that, let's say I want to be a very good surgeon, so I need to be very compassionate. So I'm going to use the virtue of compassion as I study medicine and study how to be a good surgeon. It's different. I think you have a skill, but you want to find out what is that quality that will keep you enthused in life, that will keep you inspired, that will keep you motivated. So that's where your inner goals are most important. Did that make sense? Yeah, okay. Any other questions from anyone?
I don't know if this is an observation. I'm since so much of what is espoused here is in concert with Buddhism, I'm kind of surprised that the Buddha or elements of Buddhism don't surface more.
You mean as visitors or as me quoting the Buddha?
Well, it's like that or something.
But we have a little baby Buddha here. I think because Buddhism is such a spiritual tradition that even some of the things that I share, if you wish to still remain attached to a religion, then you could sit as a Buddhist and say, oh, I really like what they're teaching here. It's very much in alignment with my religion.
It's not a religion.
A philosophy. Right?
Spirituality.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else has any thoughts to share?
Sister Jenna, thank you very much. I mean, it is, you can always learn from coming to these workshops. I mean, it's
And you come
amazing.
all the way from Occoquan.
Yeah, long way. But I thank you because, you know, we can never stop learning, and you're such a great teacher, and I'm so grateful to be here tonight. And I back on this thing with being positive. I know there's so much research that talks in science about how it heals the
Yes,
body,
yes,
and that just being positive and thinking about your physical ailments and that kind of thing, on how being positive can change your physical being.
I believe in
Can you
that.
elaborate a little bit on
Yes,
that?
of
on
course,
the power
of
of
course.
positive thinking, and no matter what's going on in your body, how that can change.
Yes, yes. There are some stages to that where our patterns of thinking carry a vibration, and the vibration goes into our cells of our body. And the cells are also connected to particular area and organs of our bodies, right? So let's say that I get angry a lot, and the vibration of anger keeps going maybe in a specific area. Let me just say maybe, I don't know, I'll just say the heart, right? That every time I get angry, it's because maybe the person that I love, I can never respond to them. And I keep repeating that vibration. And I could do it maybe in one lifetime, if you believe in only one life, okay. If you believe in 10 years in a relationship, okay. If you believe in more lifetimes, which I do, okay, then that vibration or pattern is traveling in the cells of whatever body I'm in. And everything has a limit or a climax where it says, I can't take anymore. And then it erupts, and then you create a disease. But the disease was perhaps caused first by a thinking and then a behavior. So then if I actually really change my thinking, then of course I might change the behavior. And then my cells begin to reverse the process of how I've been treating the body. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's a good friend of ours, speaks very highly about how neurologically affected we are by the way that we think. And that the thoughts do impact the diseases that actually find us, or the thoughts do impact the way our body responds to us. And a very good friend of mine, Anita Morjani, who was a regular housewife from India, well, she was living in Singapore, but she's Indian, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, terminal. There's no way, the doctors gave her 2 to 3 months to live. And she had an out-of-body experience, experienced God's light and God's energy of love that accessed that quiet place in her. She came back, the doctors did a testing on her, and the cancer had disappeared. And they said, "What happened?" And she said, "I felt the light, I knew the light, and it told me I could not be negative anymore." And she said after she had that experience, she realized the importance that it was on her to maintain better thoughts about herself and about the relationships that she was in. And to this day, Anita is still very healthy. So your thoughts can heal you. It's just how deeply intended these thoughts are. How much do you really feel that they can work for you? Because sometimes we're still at the surface level. Just a few days ago, you weren't your 100%, but you went and believe in medicine. Still take your medicines, be well, because scientists create those drugs because they believe they can work for you, even though they have side effects, right? So you want to be very mindful that you don't rely on drugs to heal you, because you might be healing one thing, but then making something else break down. But what is it that's making me sick in the first place? Is there a thought that I'm nurturing way too often for far too long? And that thought is making that my reality. So why, when you meditate, it really helps you to make some very clear distinctions as to what I want to feed in my awareness or not. And so I am a firm believer of that. When I had my thyroid disease, I remembered lying in bed at nights before, because they were going to give you that nuclear thing or iodine or something. And I'm a pure vegetarian, I've been that for so long, and I go, I don't want this toxic energy in my body. And I remembered for like a week or two, every night I would sleep, I would lay down and I would say, Baba, put your light over there. I know it's going to be fine. We can do this. We can get rid of this. I went back to Dr. Gupta, and Dr. Gupta says, what happened? Your thyroid's a euro. Oh, he goes, oh, well, sometimes it goes like that. It goes hyper, then hypos. He didn't think it was my yoga power. He goes, it goes like that. Okay, so you're fine now. And so I just take a little Centaur just to keep things neutral. But I honestly feel like you can do it. Now, can I tell you that I can do that all the time? I don't know. It depends on the intensity of how much it has hit my consciousness to go into that zone. So it's up to you. Okay? All right. Okay, thanks again everyone for joining us tonight.